What's going on, everybody? LK here. So today, day 1 of season 3 with Johnny. Yes, I stayed up all night waiting for Johnny and exploring him so I could make this quick day 1 overview slash guide. In about a week or so, I'll make a more detailed guide of like combos and more setups and stuff. But for now, I just want to go through his moveset, just show off a couple of things. So Johnny in this game is classified as a zoner, which I find pretty interesting. He has a few things that is kind of unusual in his game. So for starters, his dash. So he has a step dash like some other characters in the game. Most notably, the GOAT of the game, Leo Whitefang. And what he could do is he could dash block at you. So you could do like this, for example. And if I swing, he will block just like that. But Johnny actually does not have this ability. So there I'm trying to dash and block, but I'm not able to. On the other hand though, apparently his backdash is really good. I don't know the exact number. I've heard people float around 16 frames, which would put it in the fastest group of backdashes. And his dash actually covers quite a bit of range. On top of that, his normals have excellent range as well. You have normals like Far Slash, which hits from incredibly far, 2S, Crouching S, which also hits from incredibly far. His 2S is even bigger than his 2D. So I'll try to get to a spot, boom, just like that. Normals wise, he has a bunch of tools that we're quite used to seeing in the game. So he's got the jab that hits kind of high that you use for anti-air. He's got a pretty standard 2P. This hits kind of high though. So high, in fact, that it will lose to 6Ps. A couple of other characters have this, like Leo Whitefang that we just saw, or Kyle. 2K, so I had the feeling that this is a little slow. I know maybe not all the frame data has been like dug up on him, but I have a feeling this is slower than a normal 2K. Normal 2Ks in this game are either 6 or 7 frames. Soul has a new buffed one that's 5, but I have a feeling that Johnny's is slightly slower. I'm thinking like 8, and his 5K is also long reaching as well. Interestingly, all his punches and kicks are safe to YRC. You might think, duh, but not all characters have this, so this is definitely a nice thing to have. His close slash, I was told, was +3. I'm thinking this move is attack level 4, so it means it has a lot of block stun. Think Nagoriyuki close slash, for example, or Giovanna close slash. Now, uniquely when you're talking about his heavy button, so Wonder's range, so the 5H is actually pretty big here. It does outrange his far slash. But another thing to think about is he has these moves. He has 6H and 2H here. So these moves are both a little bit slow for standard heavy buttons. So if we're saying this has more blocks than a normal, then these moves have a small gap where this does not. Not saying that's a bad thing. It's just something that you have to consider with him. So it also means he has a thing similar to Baiken where he does far slash 2H, but there's a gap. Like this, it varies quite a bit on the range, especially because his far slash is so massive. His sweep is 2 hits, just like his classic sweep. His dust is his standard kind of back fist you. 2H, both hits are able to be cancelable, so he does his V thing, but you can cancel the second hit. The first hit like this, you can cancel the second hit like... Speaking of gaps, uniquely, I feel like he has more than other characters. So another thing that has a small gap is his kicks into 6K. So this is 6K that he's had in many games. Depending on the game or version, it'll be plus on its own or it's special cancelable or something. So this version, it is special cancel. But there's a small gap here, specifically a 4 frame gap. So just keep that in mind. It's actually not a big deal at all because barely any characters have something that can interrupt this, but here you see there's like a trade here, so they would need either an invincible move or a 3-frame button. Both are not that common in the game, so it creates opportunities to set up different types of like strike throw, frame traps, things like that. So then I want to look at some special move stuff. So first I want to talk about deal. So deal, there's 3 versions: punch, kick, and slash. So the punch version throws 1. While it's not close, it's close considering how far he throws these cards away. Then the kick version throws it far. Then the S version throws it just outside of the P version, but like really high. So up here. Now, to get the guard cancel Mistfinder, you have to cut the card. So, for example, if I do the S toss into P Mistfinder, and I'll get into this, it cuts. But if I do the S toss into S Mistfinder, nothing happens. You have to be relatively close. You don't have to be perfect. Probably this was like a boomer game. You'd have to be like perfect. You just need to be close enough and you will get it. Now, the guard cancel Mistfinder is really juiced. So, Soul is here ready to mash throw on me. Okay. Now, let's set up a card. Let's do P deal. Okay. And we'll cut the card. And let's do something like Dust right in his face. Couldn't do anything. Okay. Now, let's do it again. But let's do a different move. Okay, he got counter hit there. Okay. So, I don't have an exact number of how advantageous it is. I think it's slightly above plus 20, which is a lot of frame advantage. It means you can do a ton of shenanigans with the setups. And deal itself is pretty fast, I want to say. If anything, I'm pretty curious on what the total duration is, because to me, the move animates pretty quickly. And in this example here, I was able to get like a quote-unquote safe deal. Toss, cut, toss again, and I'm able to recover before Soul can hit me. But of course, the reversal is not like super fast, right? Using deal and leveling up Mistfinder is really going to be a big part of his game. You can even set up a simple high-low if you have resources and they block a guard crush Mistfinder. So using the Tiger Knee Mistfinder, which is overhead, I was able to do pretty much an instant overhead with 50 beater just because they blocked guard crush Mistfinder. So I feel like his sequencing is going to be honestly pretty crazy. That's it about Deal. Let's talk about Mistfinder. So just like Deal, he has 3 versions, the P, K, and S version. So annoyingly, it's the opposite of Deal, so, or maybe it'll help you, I don't know. So if you do like S Deal, he throws a card high, but if you do S Mistfinder, he slashes low. If you do K Deal, you throw a card like in the distance. I think this kind of lines up with K Mistfinder, which goes horizontally, and then the P Deal throws a card close, but the P Mistfinder actually goes up. So let's talk about some Mistfinder things. So he has a step cancel, so you can dash, right? You can use the dash button to perform this dash also. But when you dash, you exit the Mistfinder stance right away. However, you are able to release your Mistfinder at the end of the step. So for example, you can do something like this. Like that. It does actually take timing to do. Like, there is a window. You can't just do it. It takes a little practice, but I don't think it's that difficult. He can walk back and forth, and you can do this forever, but I think they showed this in the trailer. There's another character that walks around in their special move, Jacko, right? And Jacko is incredibly fast when she does hers, but this, in comparison, is not quite as fast. So for comparison, let's take Johnny. He's looking all cool. Let's take Jacko. So walk speed wise, they're the same, but Jacko can actually take off, and she's incredibly fast when she's running, holding the minion, where, again, Johnny, if you dash, you exit the stance right away. This also does apply to the air Mistfinder stance, and the buttons are assigned the same, right? So B will go up, K will go horizontal, S will go down. You dash also, and you'll exit, but you can't, like, imagine, right? You can't like walk around in the air in Mistfinder stance, at least. Important to note though that the air Mistfinder slashes are all overheads, no matter which way you slash. So the one I showed before was with this, and that's the slash Mistfinder. But you can, for example, so that's the P one, which goes up, but it still hits overhead. Now, one thing Johnny had for a long time, basically forever, is he uses the mist cancel technique, so canceling Mistfinder stance into stuff for either more frame advantage, unique combos. Uniquely, the exert, the leveling up reduces the recovery of this Mistfinder cancel, which you can perform by pressing the H button or pressing the D button while you are in the Mistfinder stance. So from what I found, there probably is not a single way to be advantageous, advantageous when you do Mistfinder. While I found my ways to make him safe, it wasn't anything that let him continue to pressure. And the main reason is that the stance, I feel like normally it animates kind of weird. Like, it looks like it doesn't have recovery, but like it has a pinch of recovery. However, we can use the walk and dash in order to sneak in frame traps that we would not normally be able to do. So, for example, if I use the same thing, you have to remember the S Mistfinder gives a hard knockdown, so I think that's a pretty big deal. Now, he also has this move, Vault. So, at the moment, at least, I think this is mostly a combo tool. So, he normally has this type of move, and he has a follow-up on it where he throws a card. Depending on the timing, so if I do it early, you'll see there's only one hit. The card hits. That's if I do it early, but if I wait a little bit longer, I get 2 hits. The thing is, I sort of think this move's hard to use. So if you only get 1 hit of the vault, for example, you basically are just punishable. If you get 2 hits, you're safe. I feel like the situation is pretty tough. So for example, since I have Kai mashing 2p here, I know his 2p loses his 6ps. Okay, but I don't feel like that's like a very reliable strategy. Now with meter, I think this type of thing is very, very strong. So this is like a simple example of what type of things he might build. So fast RCing the first hit so that you get a guaranteed close slash, so they can set up like a immediate high-low. So then you have Ensenga. So Ensenga is a pretty good move actually. So one, it's a nice safe ender in a lot of positions where you're point blank, and it pushes you pretty far away. 2, you can use it as a throw bait, and it has medium counter in it, so pretty easy to follow up with. As you would expect, it hops over lows as well. And it's even safe against 5-frame mashing like most characters' crouching punches. So all around, a pretty good move. So looking at Johnny's super real quick, this is his reversal super. It's pretty big. It hits from almost round start. Not quite round start. But if they swing in here, you will get them. So this move is pretty big horizontally, which I find to be pretty important. Unfortunately, as far as I could find, he can't safe jump after wall break. Which is pain. Alright, last but not least, a couple of simple things to get you started with the character. So here's a simple safe jump you can do with him. And here's something off 2K2D. So if you play this game a bunch of characters, this situation is pretty important. So for Kyle, for example, you do something like this. Okay, but for Johnny, you would do something like this. So as you can see, that setup covers a bunch of stuff. Not totally beaty, but it's like you can't backdash, you can't really 6p, can't reversal. The main ones you would need is a super that travels horizontally, and Kai has the extreme of that, right, in Ride the Lightning. And for a simple mid-screen combo, especially if you get something like a close slash starter, alright, and that's it for Johnny for today. So I just tried to go through like the important things that I found that I was like noting down. When a new character drops, there's a bunch of info coming from all ways. I'm still really impressed with how people can come up with like actual setups where they're like, this beats this amount of frame move and stuff like that, where the character doesn't really have like a game plan put together, but hopefully this should give you a good overview of what the character can do. I am planning on trying the character just like I try every DLC character for a few days, so I'll try to put together a Johnny guide, combo guide after a few days. As usual, if you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Like and subscribe if you guys feel like it, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace out.